welcome to Brain Hack, and we're going to talk a little bit about your brain tap journey, but
Okay.
also we want to know about just if you have any questions about brain tap or what's happening. So let's begin first by how did you get introduced to brain tap?
I got an email, and I can't remember who sent the email, but it had whoever it was mentioned brain tap in the email, and there was a little clip that I could watch. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. And so I listened to you for a while, and I thought that's something that I think I would really be interested in because I had learned, I was taught how to do self-hypnosis as a young girl. So I know the different things that you can do with the brain. And there were some issues that I wanted to address. So I thought that's right up my alley.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
What were you wanting to accomplish?
Well, there were three different areas that I was interested in. One was sleep, because I don't sleep well. And the other was a addiction to sugar. And the other was sort of like a stress reduction.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a little bit about each of those. How did it work for you? What's happening?
Well, I do have some questions for you.
Sure.
And I know sugar addiction is a real tough one. I had heard that it's more addictive than cocaine, and I really believe it because I've been off sugar for, I think the longest was 4 months, and I never lost my desire for it. And it was sort of like when you're smoking and you quit and you take one puff and then you're right back with it again. That's sort of how I am with sugar. And my problem is, and I would really be interested to hear what you have to say, my mind wanders when I listen to brain tap. I mean, I'm wandering throughout the whole session, and it doesn't seem to matter which issue I'm listening to. I'm just all over the place. So my question is, am I getting any benefit? And are there other people that their minds wander as well?
Yeah, you don't have to even worry about paying attention to it. The information is going to be received by the subconscious, just like your experience with hypnosis early in your life. The subconscious runs 95% of the activity of the body and the brain. So it's not really for your conscious mind anyway. Plus the light and sound, basically the NeuroConnect technology is going to train your brain to go there. We tell people your conscious mind is kind of like a passenger, but it doesn't have to be aware of where you're going. It's going to still make the changes.
Right. Okay. When I first started listening, I had asked, so how should I do this? And I was told that if I picked one subject to listen to all the different recordings that you had to see which ones you resonated with. So I started doing it that way. And then I thought, well, okay, I have 3 different issues that I want to address. And so, say morning, I would pick stress, and then midday, I would pick sugar, and then, of course, evening, I would pick sleep. And then I thought, well, maybe I should just listen to one topic all throughout the day. So I'm not exactly sure which way I should do this.
Yeah. Well, most people will pick the one that they most want to change first and start that one. And then after 21 days, you can add in the other one and maybe listen to it, still listen to that one until the behavior is eliminated. Sugar is something that you probably have to go back and revisit because there's so much sugar in the world right now that people eat. The average American consumes over 100 pounds of sugar every year. So it's in everything. And unfortunately, it's almost like the alcoholic that has what happens is the immune system has a reaction to alcohol. And that's one of the things that triggers the alcoholic, but it's really sugar. So you're kind of getting a triggered effect. Now, what'll happen is after after maybe 6 months to a year of being low sugar or no sugar, then that won't be a factor. But until then, those neural pathways are still there. And the memory of eating and the trigger effect, if you will, the program, if you want to think about it that way, is running as soon as that substance is basically touched by the tongue. It's an anchor. So it's kind of like seeing a friend that you haven't seen for a while, you start feeling good. Well, unfortunately, sugar, because of the memories that are associated with it, it can also be the same thing.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I have acid reflux. And so it's a big issue with me that I need to figure out how to get off sugar. Now, there's a couple of them that I listen to, and I would also like to lose weight, but I should probably just stick to one topic at a time.
They're all going to help you lose weight. So whatever you listen to, we know that your metabolism is going to speed up.
Okay.
But also one of the things you might want to look into is digestive enzymes for the acid reflux. Because this isn't uncommon for, as we age, unfortunately, hydrochloric acid. We don't make enough of it to break down our food, so we get acid reflux. I know people, if you get a full spectrum product, like we typically use products that are like from BioCell technology, but you can find any full spectrum. You'll find that if you have them with your meals, like have 2 of these full spectrum, like they have lipase and different things in there, you'll see you won't have acid reflux anymore. It's the digestion that's happening.
So where can I find these that you're referring to?
You can go online and just type in full spectrum digestive enzymes. If you have any trouble, then you can always just send it here to support@braintap.com and say, hey, Dr. Porter told me about one, and I'll send you a referral to products we know works.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That'd be awesome. So the 2 that I was listening to was Eliminate Desire for Sugar and Chocolate, and the other one was Conquer Cravings for Sugar and Unhealthy Fats. I'm assuming they're both great and one isn't better than the other.
Yeah, they're all working with different techniques. So whether we're working to erase an anchor that you might have to it, which means a trigger that triggers the sugar, or we're working to what we call it the mind link, because when you start to have the sugar craving, we need you to link it to new behaviors, new attitudes, and new beliefs. So there's 2 different techniques going on there, but they're both in essence going to be the same thing. It's just we want to come at it at a different angle so we get that neuroplasticity, so the brain is always changing and building the support process that you need.
So was there one that you would recommend that I would listen to over the other one?
No, we recommend you listen to a series of them, because if you listen to the same one, you can listen to the same one if you mix it up with other ones. But what happens if you listen to the same process every time, the brain learns that, and then it doesn't get the same basically neurotransmitter activity that we need.
Okay, that makes sense. Is it required that I totally abstain from sugar while I am doing this process in the beginning?
No, but what we do, if you were coming in as a client, I would have you increase your fiber. Figure out what kind of fiber works good for you. Like if you you can get the soluble fiber at the store and just put a scoop in some water or something like that, because that fiber is going to slow down the sugar consumption.
Okay.
And if you are having sugar that like we recommend trying to limit it to maybe 1 day a week, but you're not going to avoid sugar altogether because it's in everything. So we have to have a way to just slow it down. And there's lots of ways. When we talk about healthy fats, those also can do it. So like if you drink coffee, for instance, you might want to get some of the like bulletproof oil that they have that you put into it, or put some really good butter in there. That slows it down. So fat and fiber are what's going to help you to, on a physical level, work with the mental side that you're doing, so that if those cravings are really strong. Some people don't need to do that, but we could add that. I think if you added that in, that would be another thing. And it would also, really good fat tastes good. So it's going to satisfy that. It's going to satisfy the cravings you have.
Okay, so I've been doing this since September. And this is, I'm a tough case because I've been a sugar addict since childhood.
There's a great book. There's a great book that you should read. It's Get Off Your Sugar.
Okay.
It's a good friend of mine. His name is Daryl Joffrey, and he talks about brain tap throughout the whole book because he talks about the sessions that will work with it because he was a sugar addict. And he's a doctor, so he didn't stop eating sugar because of brain tap, but we partnered because he does a sugar summit. And there's a lot of different reasons that people become addicted to sugar. And that book kind of summarizes it all. And he's put it together in a very nice way, a nice package for people to read about. And he has some really good tips as far as for the hard cases. I always recommend that they get that book.
Okay. That sounds good. So focus on sugar first, or basically weight and sugar first for, you said 21 days?
Yes.
Okay. And then at that point, can I add sleep?
Yes. Well, you can do the sleep ones in the evening even. I would continue to do the sleep ones in the evening, and then it's just in the middle of the day you want to focus on. Whatever you're working on should be the middle of the day one. Like if you do it around 2:00 in the afternoon or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes around 2:30. Yeah.
At 2:00 every day for everyone around the world, that's when your temperature drops 2 degrees. So that's when most people, your body's telling you need to reboot. So doing a brain tap around that time is really good.
That's good to know.
Energize it. And then in the morning, if you were to listen to the wake up programs that we have, they're meant to engage. We call it digital coffee. So the more we can get your energy level up without having to use coffees, teas, or sugars, the less you're going to have the cravings. So those are ones that get the brainwave. There's a brainwave called SMR, sensory motor rhythm. And that's the one you really want to trigger to keep your energy level up, because we live in an energy economy. So when our body needs energy, it thinks, oh, I just need to go get some sugar because that's easy. But we want to train your body we really want to train your body to burn fat because that's more brain fuel and it's going to sustain your energy longer. So if you can do that.
Now I have, what do you call it? Do you have one for brain memory?
Yes, we do. We have the Brain Fitness series.
I need to get on that one. I have sleep apnea. Would any of your sleep ones help with sleep apnea?
Yeah, we work a lot with the dental sleep market because when people have sleep apnea, it's what's most important when you go to sleep at night is don't try to fall asleep right away. Do the breathing exercises. Stay with the brain tap as long as you can if you're listening to it at night, because that's going to unload that stress. And once the body learns that it doesn't need all that stress, then we've had a lot of people, their airway opens up and they can breathe better. Now, some people still use an appliance or something like that, but it depends on what they've given you.
Right. Well, last night I woke up at 3 and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I listened to 2 rounds of one of your, I think it was a deep sleep, waking recharged, and I fell asleep before the second session was done and slept well after that. So I was real happy about that.
Yeah, just like at 2:00, your temperature drops. Your temperature increases at 3:30, around 3 to 3:30 every night. That's why if you happen to wake up in a sleep cycle where you're coming out of a cycle, then you'll wake up. So we just got to train your brain to stay deeper during sleep so you don't have those wake ups. I tell people it's kind of like pushing a balloon underwater. When it's underwater, you can manipulate it, but as soon as it pops out, it's hard to get it back under. That's kind of what's happening with the brain waves. We need to stop you from bumping up into this fast brainwave like we're talking right now. You want to be in the slower brainwaves called alpha, theta, and delta. If you stay in those during sleep, you usually won't wake up.
Okay.
But it depends on what's happening at that time.
Right. I have vertigo. And so one of the things that I'm finding is if I have the headset and they have the flashing light. So if the room is dark, it will sort of throw me into a vertigo. And so I have to have a light somewhere in the room or where it sort of shines into where I'm at so it doesn't put me into vertigo. So I've been listening to the sleep sessions, not right when I go to bed. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that's fine. What's going to happen when your brain gets balanced, you won't see the light at all. So as you listen to it more, usually it takes about 6 weeks, 3 times a day, and your brain will synchronize to it. With one of the studies we did with, this was a study with women 55, 65 in Florida that had dementia. It took 6 weeks to synchronize their brain. Before that, their left hemisphere is moving slower than their right. So depending upon how much they match, that's what's happening with the vertigo. Once it's matched, you won't see the light anymore.
So does that possibly help with vertigo then?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of people that use it to help them to deal with the symptoms of vertigo. They go away once the brain's balanced.
Now I know there's lights in the headphone where you listen. Those don't do anything, do they? Or do they?
Yeah, they're pulsating at 197 times per second. And that's a frequency that's telling your nervous system to get rid of the stress and turn on the healing mode, which is called the parasympathetic. We call it the thriving brain. So it's doing it without your awareness, though. It's using something called meridians.
Okay.
If you're familiar with like Chinese medicine where they use acupuncture points, but we're not using the acupuncture points, but we're using light to do the same thing. It's something called photobiomodulation. So while we dump the light into the ears, it takes those pathways around the body and opens up and gets energy flow. If you were at one of our clinics, we could actually show you the energy flow through your body before and after a brain tap session. And as we clear that out, you'll run more energy through your body so that you'll have more energy to do the things you need to. And we're putting it in the ears because the blood absorbs the light through something called photobiomodulation, and then it brings it into the brain first. The same with the eyes. We want to get as much light into the brain to create ATP production, which is, think of it like the currency of the body. Like we have cash to transact information in our stores, but our body uses something called ATP to go ahead and either heal, rebuild, or help the body maintain its health.
Oh, okay, that's fascinating.
Light is the most underprescribed nutrient right now. So the more light we can get in the right light, we're giving you the right frequencies of light that the body wants and needs, not the kind of burning frequencies, but these are we need the light from the sun to regulate our serotonin, our GABA, our acetylcholine, even our dopamine, which is the one that's hurting you for the sugar, is the beta brain. So we need to slow that down. So almost all addictions we have in our world today are dopamine addictions. Because we're getting that hit really quick when we're doing it. So we need to calm that brain down so it's not overexcited and causing you to eat more sugar than you really want.
Okay. Well, that sounds good.
Also, just so you know, they've proven now, one of the articles that I wrote a long time ago was called How Stress is More Fattening Than Chocolate. Because when your liver produces, for one stressed event, you produce as much sugar as a candy bar. You produce it. Your body produces the sugar, and it produces it through the liver. So the more we can get you relaxed, the less and then when that sugar is circling, it doesn't care if you ate a candy bar or got stressed out. The body then produces that, the fat storage hormone that is necessary. And then what happens is instead of the sugar circulating in your bloodstream, which you can only have a tablespoon or you would die. So it has to produce fat to protect you from that sugar. So the more we can de-stress you, the less likely it is for you to overproduce the sugar. There are people that never eat sugar, but they have high sugar. They get diabetes because the liver produces so much sugar just from stressful events.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that would make sense why I'm so addicted to it, because I've been stressed since I was little. Okay.
Well, as we clear that out, your nervous system every 72 hours resets, but it takes about 2 years to truly rebuild your whole body. So some people find results very quickly, and it happens. But as you continue to do it, what will happen is you'll slowly find that you can gain control over that sugar consumption. I mean, we're not against sugar. Like we even have sessions, have your cake and lose weight too, because
Sign me up.
Yeah. The thing is, you have it every day, and you can't have it for breakfast, right? So, but if it's a celebration or a party, then yeah. Or if it's Sunday and that's a day where you usually have your desserts. That's when I was growing up. You didn't have dessert every day like we do today. We had it on special occasions, or if we went to see a relative or something like that. But we're so conditioned now that we need to have that sweet after we eat, that it's basically trained us to become overeaters.
Oh, definitely. And one other issue that I wanted to address is you have a session on phobias. Mm-hmm. And so I've had a phobia since I was 12, and I've attended different programs for it, and I've gotten fairly well as far as minimizing the symptoms. But there's still the little thought process that I run through if I put myself in a certain situation. So I think the one was from phobia to personal power. Mm-hmm. Would that assist me in getting rid of those thought processes, even though it's not specific to my issue?
Right. Well, no, it doesn't have to be specific. Most of all of the brain tap sessions are geared around teaching you how to think, not what to think. So it doesn't matter. With a phobia, for instance, we know that happens because all the sensory-based information is coming into the brain at the same time. So it's kind of like in the old days, we used to have fuses that would blow. We would turn on the toaster, somebody turn on the hair dryer, then the fuse would blow. Well, in our case, when our brain gets the pictures, the sounds, the feelings all at one time, it can't discern them. And what happens is the brain starts to become anxious. And what we find, that's part of that brain being out of balance. And once we bring the brain into balance, you'll probably find the phobias will go away, but that will accelerate. It'll slow down. It's called double disassociation. You actually walk into a theater and you imagine yourself on the screen. And the whole visualization is about separating out the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, the olfactory, gustatory senses, so that your brain can reorganize it. So if whether it's an internal feeling or it's an external trigger, like like spiders or snakes or fear of heights or elevators, we've had all sorts of people write us and tell us, hey, I just listened to that once and it's gone. Because once the brain learns the correct way to think about that experience, it's just like walking. When you learn to walk, you fell down in every conceivable way. But once you learn to walk correctly, and all you have to do is think about, if you've seen children learn to walk, they hardly ever fall down again until they start running, right? They got to learn their balance again. Same thing. That's true with everything we do with our brain. So once our brain learns the right way, it will forget the wrong ways to do things.
Okay. So a tough case of a real sugar addict like myself, what's a fair amount of time, or is there a
well, I would say if you started doing, get some digestive enzymes, that's going to help. Start increasing fiber, start increasing good fats. And what you're going to find is that you're not going to have cravings as much anymore. Usually within 21 days, those cravings are manageable and people can start living their life. Now, usually I don't have to tell people to go do the digestive enzymes but we, in our classes, like there's a nutritional series you can listen to on Brain Tap. I don't know if you've seen that. Going to the weight control, there's 26 weeks of nutritional information there that we used to use. I used to have a franchise company. We were featured in People magazine because people lost half their weight and kept it off for more than 5 years.
Wow.
And that whole series is in the Brain Tap app that you can listen to as part of your subscription. So you can go through that. Now, you don't have the consulting, like we used to do at the clinic. But if you listen to those things and what you already know about self-hypnosis, you should do fine with it. It's about learning the information, then putting it to work, getting it to put it on the timeline, so that when you look at a piece of food or a plate of food or even a drink, you're not making decisions based on past information. You're basing it on present information or future information. To give you an example, if you met my wife, She's about 125 pounds. And if we're walking through the mall and then we see Godiva chocolate, she's going to be holding me back to go get it. I'm not going to have it, but my brain's going to be racing ahead because I look at food. She's going to tell me, just looking at that makes me sick to my stomach.
Really?
But she has a whole different way of looking at food. Now, if we were at dinner and we were eating a good dinner and she said, do you want to get dessert? Let's split it. She does that all the time. But she cannot eat sugar on an empty stomach because for her, it makes her sick. But that's what she's thinking in her head, where people who really love the sugar are thinking about the ecstasy of, biting into the sugar. So we have to reframe that a little bit. And there's one of the sayings that I love, and you can adopt it for yourself. It's nothing tastes as good as thin and healthy feels. And so you just basically, and you have to say no. You have to get in the habit of saying no, but saying no is really saying yes to you. That's the reframe, because it's not saying no to you. It's saying, hey, it's not for me, but for my body, I'm going to do this. Because certainly we'd all like to be like that. Like, remember, your subconscious is no more educated than a fourth grader. So if you let a fourth grader go to the grocery store, they're going to come home with a lot different food than an adult would, right?
Right.
So that's why we need that adult mind but we don't want to squash that child, and take all the joy out of your living.
Right.
You want to just balance it out so that you can have your sweets and still lose weight, but only have them in moderation, or find healthy ways to have them.
Okay. So would it help if I crave sugar all day long, but after dinner seems to be a real tough one. From after dinner till bedtime, I'm sitting on the couch thinking, okay, what do I have in the house? What can I eat that has sugar?
Do you like avocados?
Yeah.
What you'll learn from Daryl's book is how he broke his habit was he included an avocado with every dinner, a whole avocado.
Oh, wow.
You will not get hungry, because that's good fat too. Even though somebody might say that's a lot of fats, that fat is going to have you burning fat for fuel, and you're going to not be hungry at all. You're not going to have any cravings. You don't have to do it for the rest of your life, but if you did that consistently here over time, you're going to find that. Daryl's book will really help. I mean, you can get it on Amazon, or if you do Kindles, or you can buy it.
Right.
That book has a lot of, and I would just start playing around with, in the evening, especially for you, is eating a really high fat, healthy fat meal, because your body needs to learn that think of sugar as kindling wood and fat as the logs. And you can't just jump from the kindling to the logs, right? You got to train the body to make those changes. And then in the morning, you might want to experiment in your own way with, maybe doing a little bit of, maybe not just eating right away or drinking coffee right away. Do some water, and maybe give yourself an hour or something before you put anything in your body but water, just to get the body to convert to fat burning.
Okay. Well, I had brought that up. I was wondering if when I get into one of those modes, I guess it doesn't matter how many times I listen to Brain Tap, does it? I mean, if I just am not feeling satisfied to just put the headphones on and listen to a weight loss, eliminate the desire for the sugar.
Yeah,
that would help.
You can listen to those whenever you want. We just tell people, if you're not doing anything else but listening to the Brain Tap, we need to do something else. But you can listen as many. When we have people in surgery, we have a surgery program where people, while they're recovering from surgery, listen, all day long when they wake up. Every time they put it on, because it's going to increase their body's own natural morphine response, or give them a greater threshold for pain.
Oh, is that in?
It's in the power user section. It'll say medical series. And so when somebody's going through surgery, that's the one they listen to.
Okay, because I can't take pain meds; they make me sick. So that would be a good thing to listen to. Okay.
My dad trained me to have surgery where they did a whole surgery with no anesthetic. They put they took a bone from here over to here with a screw through it, and I didn't feel anything. I wasn't there. He taught me how to go. He taught me through hypnosis how to go really deep into relaxation myself. And then I only woke up once and saw the saws and everything, and I went back out. I remember just seeing it, then giving myself the suggestion, and he was in the room, so he basically, gave me this auto suggestion to go back into my deep sleep. And then when I woke up, of course, I was in pain, and he taught me how to take the pain away.
I have heard people that have done that, but boy, kudos to you to feeling assured enough to do that. That's
I had a reaction. I had a reaction to when I got my tonsils out. I didn't want to go through that again. I mean, I was like 3 days. They didn't know what was going to happen to me. So they didn't say I was allergic to it, but I had a reaction. So my dad said, let's try it. If we had to, they would have turned on the gas, or something and put me out, because they wouldn't let me do it without having an anesthesiologist there. So they're going to be there, but I was able to make it through it with no problem. The doctor was kind of really amazed as well. So
yeah,
I was 18 years old when it happened. So
really,
it was a while ago.
incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm pretty set as to what I think I need to do. I am finding that when I go into the grocery store now, I've listened to the weight wellness enough that a lot of times I'll look at things and say, I really don't need that. So I know it's doing something. I'm just a tough case, that's all.
No, that's good. Well, we tell people if you can procrastinate, you can be successful at weight loss. So
Yeah.
all you got to do is just put it off. Just say, I won't get it this time. I'll think about that. And then what'll happen is eventually you just won't do it. So you'll just succeed that way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let me ask you just one question before we leave. If somebody was just interested in BrainTap but wasn't able to make the decision yet, what would you tell them to do in order to give them a try, to give them the step forward to say, hey, I might try this? Because there's a lot of people out there that might be thinking, I don't think it would work for me, or I don't know if it would relax me, or if I could follow along with that. What would you say to them?
Well, having experience with hypnosis, even before I started BrainTap, I have an understanding of somewhat how the brain works and what we're able to do. And so having BrainTap I really like the sessions and the things that you say during the session. You have a nice speaking voice, and I like the things that you're saying. And with the music, it's very relaxing, and with the different issues that I've had, I can tell a difference, even though I'm not where I want to be yet. When I'm done with it, even if it's just for relaxation, I listen for 20 minutes and I initially feel all the stress out of my body, which that in itself is very therapeutic. And it's a program that you have for the rest of your life that, you can use as often as you want. I just think it's very beneficial. I've been trying to get my son into this, and I've been talking to him about it, and he seems pretty interested as well. So he'll probably get the program as well. Like I said, what do you have to lose? And you just have so much to gain by giving it a shot. And we're all on a journey where most of us for better health and enjoyment, and life is full of stresses. So if you can use something that makes it easier to go throughout your days, not all wound up, who wouldn't want to feel like that? So I definitely recommend it, and I've talked to several people about it, and they all seem to be pretty interested. So you'll probably get more clients.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Is there anything else I could answer for you on the call today?
No, you've been great. You've answered all my questions, and I'm feeling so optimistic and excited about continuing on. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Well, it's been great. And thanks for sharing. Thanks for being willing to share your journey and help other people understand, it doesn't always happen quickly, but if you keep going, it'll happen for you. So
Yeah.
that's what's going on. So yeah, well, thanks for being on the call, and we'll
Thank you.